Xbox will be losing the console wars this generation and potentially next generation. All right, guys, before we get into this, if you're new here, as I see many of you are, consider hitting that subscribe button. So I know what you guys are thinking. The console wars, Xbox, they have no chance at winning them, but does it really even matter going forward with the different strategy that Xbox has going into this generation and forward into the gaming industry? And the answer to that is absolutely not, but Xbox does admit here specifically for the console wars, the hardware of pushing out the plastic box to as many people as possible, they may not be able to compete with PlayStation during this generation and even going into the next generation. So we got some more information from those documents that were sent to the Brazilian competition authority, Cant, where we have seen a lot of stuff come out of that. And the biggest thing of that all is really showing that PlayStation does not want this deal to go through, as they know that they are just grasping on that Call of Duty revenue where it makes them the most money on their console, and they're going to be losing a lot of that revenue once Activision Blizzard is an Xbox Game Studios division, and the games coming from Call of Duty are going to be into Xbox Game Pass day one. Now, Microsoft has already said they aren't taking the games off of PlayStation. They are going to leave them there, and whether they're saying that right now just to get this deal to go through, or if they really are going to do this in the future in the long run of this game, it makes a ton of sense for Xbox to do it, because it's such a huge game, it brings in so much revenue, and a lot of that revenue does come from PlayStation, that by taking it off of the platform, they would be losing money. I don't think they will be able to make up the amount of money they would lose by all of the people currently on PlayStation, with 117 million PS4s out there, people still playing Call of Duty on the PS4, and then the install base of the PS5 that is going to continue to increase. If they were to lose all of those users from playing Call of Duty, I don't think they will be able to make it up from people signing up to Xbox Game Pass or going out there and buying an Xbox to play Call of Duty, for a couple of reasons. One of the big things right now is they probably wouldn't even be able to meet the demand of the amount of people that would want to get an Xbox in order to play Call of Duty. So there would be a lag, there would be a lull in the amount of money they would be making on this Call of Duty coming out and even next year's Call of Duty. So it really makes no sense for them to take it off of PlayStation. But where they will really win when it comes to this deal and with Call of Duty, I believe, is going to be the acquisition of new users. I think people who don't have a loyalty to PlayStation, who don't have a loyalty to playing Call of Duty on PC or even playing on Xbox, they are new to where they want to play the game. They're going to see that Call of Duty is available on Xbox Game Pass, and their first choice is going to be playing it on Xbox. And they're also going to be able to really persuade people to play the game on Xbox, because PlayStation is going to be losing those marketing rights, and Xbox is going to really be able to push forward their console with the Call of Duty branding. And one of the biggest things that I think is going to make consoles fly off the shelf is the 120 hertz mode, especially if they use that marketing with the Xbox Series S. The price of that console being so cheap, it's going to be an impulse buy for a lot of people, and you're going to see those things fly off the shelf, especially, let's say, soon after the release of Modern Warfare 2, Xbox and Activision Blizzard, the deal goes through, they're able to start putting the logo right onto the Xbox Series S and even the Xbox Series Xbox. That's going to be a huge thing for people walking into stores and seeing that. But when it comes to the actual hardware itself, the specific sales of the Xbox versus the PlayStation, Xbox is admitting here that they aren't going to be able to compete this generation and next generation. And a lot of this has to do with just brand loyalty that PlayStation has created over these generations. So we got some more information from those documents that were sent to the Brazilian competition committee, and we now know that Xbox, the Xbox One generation, was an abysmal generation in terms of the amount of consoles they were able to sell, they are predicting now, based off of those documents, that they sold in the region of 50 to 60 million units. And here's a quote from the document saying, Sony has surpassed Microsoft in terms of console sales and install base, having sold more than twice as many Xbox One units in the last generation. And we look at the PS4, they have stopped counting the sale of their consoles at 117.2 million, and that would put the Xbox One in the region of that 50 to 60 million units sold mark. And we know what happened last generation. Xbox came out, terrible marketing right off the bat with Don Matrick, with the DRM, the always online, the having to have a Kinect bundled with the console, which pushed the price of the Xbox One to $100 more than the PS4. And then the PS4 came out after, had a great presentation. They even made fun of Xbox with that video of how to share games. And it really just set Xbox back so badly that they could never really recover from it. But what they did do during the Xbox One generation, which we're all benefiting from right now, is they took that time to rebrand their strategy, come up with something that was going to be great, which we have with the Xbox Series X and S. And we're all reaping the benefits of that as Xbox is competing a lot better in the entire gaming industry, but also just with the specific sales of their consoles compared to the PlayStation 5. And also because of the Xbox One failure, we got what we have right now, which is far more important going forward into the gaming industry, which was very forward thinking back in about 2017, I would say, when they released Xbox Game Pass and the Xbox One X. And that was the gamer-centric Xbox Game Pass and opening up the ecosystem to more than just people wanting to play on console. And we are seeing that pay dividends for Microsoft, as I think that they are going to be the leader overall because of this type of stuff. They may not be able to compete with the specific console sales for quite some time because the brand loyalty that PlayStation has built up is very impressive. I've talked about this in many previous videos, is that they have created a fan base that will literally buy anything they put out. It doesn't matter. They're going to go out there and they're going to spend the full price for that product. Even with a game coming out like The Last of Us remake, which I firmly believe is just a cash grab, at least for now. We'll see what happens when it comes out. But you have people out there that are willing to go and spend that $70 for a game that's already been released twice and has 50% of the game without the multiplayer just taken away from it. So that is some impressive stuff from the business perspective of what PlayStation has been able to do with their brand loyalty. And it's going to take a long time for Xbox to ever be able to get up to that point. Now they continue to talk about some other stuff in here. One of the things that they do mention is that Xbox's deliberate decision to move away from a strategy of device-centric business towards a more consumer-centric or gamer-centric service like its subscription. And they also specifically use the term console wars, which is hilarious because this is something that is still around. People are still doing console wars. They are still having the Xbox versus the PlayStation going back and forth with the points of which one's better, which one has games, which one has no games, all that type of stuff. We've seen Phil Spencer come out and just be totally against console wars. But even with all of that, they specifically use that term and they say due to that brand loyalty, PlayStation will continue to have a strong market position. And it says here, Xbox is unlikely to compete successfully with Sony's hardware even in the next/current gen cycle. And with the way that sales are going right now, the sales of the consoles are extremely close compared to last generation, but I still think PlayStation will have a lead in their console sales for quite some time. And again, brand loyalty is such a big thing. You can go on social media, you can go on all of these online social networks where people are talking about video games, who are in the know of video games, who take part in the console wars and all that type of stuff. And those people will always stay on those consoles. But then there are the other people out there who, when it comes to marketing and it comes to just brand loyalty in general, if they've played a PS2 or even a PS1, the first console they're going to think of going forward is going to be the next PlayStation. And for a lot of people, still the first console that comes to mind because of how successful PlayStation has been throughout the generations, especially with the PlayStation 4, as that was the most recent generation before this one. The first console they are going to think of is PlayStation. And that's going to take a long time for Xbox to be able to kind of move up in people's mind who don't follow the gaming industry all the time, who don't know about Xbox Game Pass, who don't know of all the great consumer-friendly things that Xbox is doing. They need to really make sure that their marketing is on point. So going forward into future generations, if they do want to compete specifically on the hardware level of things, they need to be at the top of mind of consumers, and they need to be able to let people know the gamer-centric and the value of the stuff that they are doing for the video game industry. So lots of interesting stuff coming out of these documents. I don't think it's really going to have any effect on if the Activision Blizzard deal is going to go through or not. I still 100% think it will go through, but again, that's just my opinion on this. And it will be very interesting to see how this all plays out once the deal does go through, what Xbox does, what their Game Pass releases, how they handle Call of Duty, and how they handle all of the other Activision Blizzard games. But that's it for me, guys. What do you think about this? What do you think about the brand loyalty that PlayStation has created? And what are your thoughts on Xbox's comments here on the console wars and how PlayStation will continue to have a strong market position going forward. Do you think Xbox will be able to continue to compete on the hardware side of things with PlayStation? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here and you liked what you saw, consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.